Hey, what's going on everyone? Obscure Edge here, and today we're playing Evil Dead the game. I'm going to give you a couple tips and tricks to help you play the demon in this game. First things first, if you're looking to get this game or just picked it up and hoping to play demon and be able to slaughter the other team, let me just put things into perspective for you right away. You're going to lose, and you're going to lose a lot. The first thing you want to get out of the way is get that tutorial done and dust it, and then look at all three demons, read their backgrounds and their abilities and their skills to best suit your playstyle. You might be thinking of rotating the demons, but let me tell you, that is not the correct way you want to do this from the beginning. First, you want to pick a demon that you like, get the max level, use that demon then to constantly get XP, then you could pre-level your other demons before jumping into games and just constantly losing with them against the survivors. The sad truth is, it's 4v1, you already are at a disadvantage, and if they have survivors that are level 15, 20 plus, they're going to have loads of skills on top of you. Without any skills, the demon is very weak and very hard to play right in the beginning. So you want to get it pre-leveled, whether that is just sticking with one demon, losing a couple games till you get a bunch of levels, and then start doing good and getting some wins, or what you can actually do is farm playing survivor games, get as many wins as you can. Instead of spending that XP to level up survivors, use that XP that you have won to level up one of the demons to give you a better fighting chance right out of the gate. The balancing currently seems like it's leaning toward the survivors, at least early game before you level up a demon. Let me help you by giving you a fighting chance. As soon as you get into a demon game, first thing you want to do is pull up that map. See where you are. You're going to want to rotate the map, either go clockwise or counterclockwise, staying to the edge of the map toward the inner. So this way, every island you're hitting, you're close enough that way. If you get close enough to that area, you'll be able to pick up on a survivor's location if they don't end up making a noise by shooting a gun or getting into a vehicle. There's a 30-minute timer, and your prime time to find the survivors, I would say, is within the first 2 to 3 minutes. This will give you advantage by leveling up, by getting your traps out, getting enemies out, start hitting them early, get your demon leveled up as soon as possible. At this moment in time, there's an RNG basis of where the 3 map pieces spawn. Sometimes I've had them find the first map piece within the first 20 seconds. I've actually had 2 map pieces found within the first minute, believe it or not, which gives them 29 minutes to find 1 map piece, the 2 objectives, and the final one. Obviously, once you get to the objectives and complete both, the timer disappears as the map starts to shrink. So 30 minutes is so much time for the survivors to get 3 map pieces and complete the 2 objectives. While you're roaming the edge of the map looking for the survivors, don't worry about going out of your way for the blood points. Just go toward the edge of the map and they'll come to you anyway. You'll end up getting a full bar eventually. If you see like a nice legendary box or something, trap it down. This will allow you to get maybe a level or 2 before your first encounter with them. I'm not going to tell you what to put your points into. I'm not going to tell you what builds to do. There's current metas that are out there. My philosophy in things like that is trial and error. So I'll leave that to you to mix it up how you want to play. Keep in mind all demons play differently, but I do believe as soon as you find them, it's good to lay some traps down and get in there with either one of your enemies or constantly keep placing traps so that way you can get your levels up and do some early on damage. Keep in mind they're not fully leveled themselves. This is their weakest time, so if you can get an advantage, single one out, do it. Even if you only get the down, you're still leveling yourself up, and the whole point of it is you want to out-level them before they get higher than you, because then it's going to be even a more uphill battle. Don't worry if you're constantly dying with your characters or anything, because it's all about stalling. The damage that you do, the stalling that you do, is gaining you levels. They don't gain anything from actually killing you yourself besides wasting their own time. So there's literally no risk at setting in enemies or going in solo to do a little bit of damage to get a couple levels. In most games, splitting up usually means the death of your team. In this game, you kind of benefit from it. At this moment in time, with the way things are going, usually you'll see 2 teams of 2. One team will go to one objective, one team will go to the other objective. The reason why they do this is they'll start both objectives at once. Even if one of the 2 teams dies, time you get to the other objective, that team will complete it and the team will do a full respawn. Though I do disagree with this, as they should be able to have to go pick up their spirits and do the totem. For some reason, completing an objective just grants them a full respawn of the whole team. Your boss demon is one of the best items at your disposal. Sometimes it's better to set up an attack, maybe place a couple enemies down in your buff, and then go in with the boss. This distracts them from the boss actually spawning, or you could have them actually take the aggro of the boss without noticing everything else that is placed around along with the buff running behind them. Just remember, this isn't like Resident Evil Resistance or Dead by Daylight. You get nothing from outright killing someone, because whether they complete an objective, take his soul to the altar, he'll be able to respawn at some point. The whole point is to constantly keep your mind active of what's going on with your surroundings. You're not just going for one kill, you're going for all kills at the same time so you could get a team wipe. Sometimes you just have to think on your feet, and even when you have no points to use, you really just need to think of a way to actually prohibit them from picking someone up. As you'll see in this, I was managed to give him a scare and then be able to possess him. I wasn't able to do anything while possessing him or deal any damage toward him, but I managed to actually delay him, which cost his two teammates their lives, which meant he had to go to altar to give them a res. Now keep in mind, during this point, I have another problem. Where's the fourth player? They're at the objective. They're currently completing the objective without their team. If they manage to complete the objective, even if I were to kill Ash right now, they would all respawn on the objective. So I had to make a choice. I decided to leave Ash and go to the person that was on the objective. Now keep in mind, if they start an objective while you're not at the location, you will not gain blood points within this time. You must remain in the circle just like they do to complete the objective for you to actually regain your blood points. And while you're not at the objective, you won't be spawning enemies on them. So basically all I have to do is sit in an empty circle. They'll get a couple loose enemies, but nothing major. And without you there to support your actual little minions, they won't be able to do much damage to that player. They'll be able to just smack them once, especially if they have a full level melee build, and then do an instant kill. So it's important when an objective actually gets launched that you're either nearby or on your way to it to wreak some havoc on the players. Another tip for you is if you manage to actually down the person on the objective, or there is no one within the circle of the objective, it will start actually ticking down backwards. If it goes all the way to the bottom of the page or the knife, it will reset the objective. They'll have to restart it from scratch again. The servers do pretty good and do hold up most of the time, though there is some poor hit detection. Now this isn't just for survivors or demons, it's on both sides and it plays a part at different times. Sometimes you'll hit someone while they're rezzing and they'll get the res off even though you hit them. Sometimes you'll hit them while you're doing a healing item and you hit them and did the damage, but it didn't actually stun them and stop the heal. It plays a part on both sides and it's annoying for whether you're survivor or demon. It's just something you kind of have to crack on with, and sometimes it works in their advantage and sometimes it works in your advantage. It's just one of those things when dealing with latency. Also keep in mind when you're constantly spawning enemies, sometimes it's better to take them over and do some hitting yourself. It seems like when you got so many enemies on the screen, they become more and more dumb as more enemies spawn in the game. Some of them just stand there and do nothing, some of them will go right up to the person and not swing at all. There is buffs that allow you to make them swing, more frequently and other things. But even with those buffs and levels on that demon, it seems like the more enemies you have, the more dumb they are. So be careful what you're placing, and don't forget to take possession over an actual enemy to do some damage. In your mind, you're going to want to say, I want to kill them quick and as fast as possible. That is true, you are going to want to do that. But keep in mind, you're not overpowered in the beginning of the game. So you need to make sure you're leveling yourself up, doing traps, doing enough damage, keeping your levels above the survivors. Because even though you might not kill them in the first fight, as you'll see in this one, I almost get them but I don't kill them, you're still dwindling their supplies. You're putting pressure on them, making them make mistakes, making them not willing to actually stop for more supplies, because for them to level, they need to fight item boxes. Most smart teams or meta teams will always have a support class. If you know who they are, make sure you're targeting that support class, because anytime they heal within the proxy of their teammates, whether it's a drink or it's an amulet, don't forget they share the results of that to their team. So if they use a drink, everyone heals in that general area. If they use an amulet, everyone gets a shield in that area. So sometimes it's best to focus the support class first. This will give you an edge near the end of the fight. Once the survivors got all 3 map pieces, and especially if they've completed one of the 2 objectives, head over to the last objective. Make sure to trap it out completely. On your way there though, make sure you're dropping enemies along the way, because you'll end up getting those blood points back, and those enemies will actually just chase over the survivors until they get to them. If they end up driving right over to the point, that means those enemies will chase them right to the point along with all your traps. It's worth doing so, because otherwise you're going to have maxed out blood points waiting for them to arrive, so you might as well drop a couple enemies along the way. Remember, you can never have too many traps, so once you get to that objective, lace every trap in the area, because they're going to be fighting a lot of enemies, so even if you think they're not going to go in that direction, if they're getting chased, they're going to end up setting off another trap, spawning another enemy. So place all the ones that you can see in the general area of that objective right away. If you didn't manage to take them out at the first objective like myself, the second objective is where it's going to be at. This is where you want to finish them. You don't want them to get to the final stage. You'll make it harder for yourself. So make sure if you got a buff, put it in a strategic area, start spawning enemies to your heart's content, jump on them, and also strategically put your boss in the middle of everything during this time. If you could keep that buff alive, I'm telling you right now, you will win this fight. If you're playing like a level 1 or really low level demon, you'll notice your balance is going to be off, which just means you could easily be ganked, they could all swing at you, you won't be able to do a damn thing. As you level up, you can fix your balance on your boss, and this will help you stay in the fight. Also use any sort of melee jank to your own kind of benefit. The survivors aren't going to pull back if they see you getting ganked, they're just going to keep hitting you until the boss is done. So if you can get one trapped in the corner, or trapped in a doorway, keep swinging until they're down. Don't show them any damn mercy, because they won't show you a cent of it themselves. Playing demon for the very first time, or any sort of low level demon, or even trying a new demon that isn't leveled at all, can be so discouraging. So make sure you level up either through the survivors, or just be prepared to lose a lot while you're leveling your demon. It will get better once you get like 20 plus levels into your demon. You'll start noticing you're having a better fighting chance. So keep this in mind when actually going into the demon gameplay. I know sometimes it could be a bit daunting at first, but once you actually grasp the concept of it, get a demon leveled, it can be really fun. So let's quickly sum up all the tips and tricks we did in this video. Tip number 1, pre-level a demon if you can by playing Survivor, or be prepared to lose a couple games while you're leveling up your first demon. Tip number 2, make sure you rotate the map, whether it's counterclockwise, clockwise. Stay toward the inner piece of the map, so this way it's easy to detect the survivors within the first couple minutes to get some early levels on. Tip number 3, take advantage of the early game damage. That means putting down creatures, more traps, jumping onto a creature just to do a bit of damage. Get yourself some early levels on to help you in the early game fight. Tip number 4, place the boss strategically, either with other enemies or your buff out. You want to take any focus off the boss, or you want all of them to focus on the boss while your other creatures are hitting them from behind. And finally, tip number 5, just have fun with it. Mix it up, try new things, different builds. Once you got all 3 level 45, all demons, it'll be fun to mix up the builds and actually give them some payback. Anyways guys, thank you for watching. If this video helped you, drop your like. If you have any other tips or tricks of yourself, make sure to comment below, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.